Dr. Paul Dyer, Grandmaster Dyer, and with Master Massiah, Grandmaster Max Massiah. How you doing, Sensei Massiah? How you doing?
I'm going just great. I'm loving it in this neighborhood, and I'm happy to be here with you, my brother.
Welcome to New York, my brother.
Yep.
So, let's talk about Maxido. Most people don't, if they're not familiar with Maxido and what it really is, and how, we have other martial arts in our lives that can do many things. Maxido is about punishment. It's about breaking.
Yeah.
It's the consummate. It's about breaking, along with influencing and inspiring. But the action itself, it's strictly
dislocation.
Let's get this done.
Yeah, let's get it done.
let's get this
over
possible.
With. I mean, I'm a big guy. I'm just a couple of years short, 60. So I think for myself, like my students, every technique has a strict focus on either dislocation or breakage will happen. Most cases, of course, it'll be a breakage, but depending on how it is, if it's a technique applied to the shoulder, it could possibly very well be a dislocation and not a breakage, but it's either or either. And not the kind of dislocation where you go around by your body and he's going to slip it back in place.
Right.
We're talking about
this is complete dislocation.
Wrenching out of the sockets.
So, we're not going to talk about what other things are not. We're not going to talk about what other martial arts or practitioners are not. What I want to talk about is why is it difficult for people to understand that finishing a self-defense altercation in a matter of seconds is important.
Because
why is that hard for people to get?
You see, they don't seem to realize, I would say, the dangerousness or the seriousness of when somebody tries to attack or hurt you. A mugger, for example.
Right.
Now, these guys come at you also with a sense of being superior in trying to show you and prove to you, hey, I'm a no-nonsense guy, don't try no shit with me.
People try that power over system, like you're the weakness and I'm in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they too will try to dismiss you in a short space of time. And remember, when we're looking at muggers and these kind of guys, I see them as evil-minded.
Me too.
So once you're evil-minded, you got to be taken care of.
You got to be put down.
Exactly.
Put down the rabbit dog.
Exactly. As I would normally say, okay, with Maxido, all the techniques are breakage, but if you come with a gun or a knife, then you're entitled to 2 or 3 breaks. You get automatic more entitlement than just a break. Because once you come with a knife or a gun, it means you really want to hurt me. You want to put me in hospital or maybe in a morgue. Right?
Now you're from Guyana.
Yes.
Guyana has got a serious problem with domestic violence.
Yes.
Men beating women.
It's almost like a crisis.
What do you mean? And we have crises across the globe, nationally in the United States, but you're talking about this is epidemic.
It is, because hardly 2 or 3 days goes by without some woman being murdered by her spouse, whether shot, chopped, robbed, shot, chopped, stabbed, or even choked to death, right? Beaten to death. It is a crisis, and this is one of the reasons why I've been trying, and I wish to actually activate Maxido into Ghana, because once a lot of these, especially the females, and even some of the elderly who are bullied, and they learn the techniques, then it means the ratio of the amount of women being beaten and murdered and killed will decrease significantly. Because let's say I'm a female, you're a bully or an abuser, but I learned Maxido and I know how to defend myself. When you come at me, I'm going to be able to handle you.
Yes.
I'll be able to deter you from what you want to do, but if I'm fully vulnerable, then you're going to have your way with me.
I think in the United States, I think in other places, more so I think in the United States, we have a victim mentality. A lot of people don't mind being a victim first.
Because they think it only happens to other people.
That's right.
We only read about it in the news and listen to other people.
It doesn't happen to me.
We don't think it will happen to us.
Yeah.
And that is the wrong way of thinking. It can happen to you. You can, I've seen cases where people, look, just a couple of weeks ago, a good friend of mine was robbed, and the people come up with all kind of ingenious ways of doing it. He was walking along a place called Lamaha Springs.
Okay.
This is in Guyana.
That's in GT?
Yeah. And there were 3 people arguing, a female and 2 guys. So to him, it seemed like a domestic situation. As he walked by, the guy came up to him, and no, sorry, there was 1 guy and 2 females. And the guy came to him with a knife, and the 2 females drew, well, here we would say machetes, in Guyana we say cutlass.
Okay.
And the 2 females drew cutlasses and stuck him up and took away his laptop and his money and everything. So that was a complete set. Like I said, that was ingenious. He assumed it was a domestic
Right.
squabble, not knowing it was a setup. So even the women are coming like that, right? So we got to be careful. But to the point that you made about everybody not seeing themselves as a victim until they become a victim, I would say this to everyone: you are responsible for you. You are responsible for you, because when something happens, come on, the police is not waiting outside your friends waiting for something to happen.
No,
So when these
they're there to write
situations happen,
reports.
when situations happen, they're before they can get you, whether you call 911 or whatever, the damage has already been done. But if you prepare yourself,
See?
be prepared.
Be prepared.
So just in the eventuality that it happens. Now, I want to raise an important point, and this is something that people don't think about. When you're scared, a dog senses that fear, and he attacks you. He becomes more aggressive because he senses it from the adrenaline flow or whatever, but he knows you're scared. Now, it's the same thing with human beings. A thug, a bandit, or a bully,
They're preying on
they
your fear.
know they would pick up your fear.
Yeah.
But when you learn as a martial artist, whether it be Maxido or whatever, automatically it gives you a sense of confidence, because you know, I'm not that vulnerable. At least I know something, I can defend yourself. So you know what happens? Automatically you're not attracted to or attracted by the muggers.
So now we're getting into the other stuff that most teachers never teach. That's that emotional science connection between what you're thinking and what you believe and what you do.
Yes.
In Maxido, it's all part of that too. Yes, let's go backwards. Yes, it's bone breaking. Yes, it's a lot of things, but still, it's belief. It's
Yes.
inspirational about yourself.
Yes.
That's what changes your victim mentality into a positive force.
Yes, because one of the focal points of which I teach students is we apply something called EOS in every single situation. That's element of surprise.
Okay.
So I would say to them, even if you're my student, Paul, you're 6-something what, and a little guy barely 5'2" comes up to you. Let's say even if he doesn't have a weapon in his hands, now you would know. You can slap him silly. You can slap him unconscious. I would still tell you use EOS.
Right. At the element
Still
of surprise.
element of surprise, right? So that when you do strike, you're sure, because most times you only have one chance. You don't want to blow that one chance. You might not get a second chance, right? So we use that in terms of when I say the element of surprise, meaning we pretend to be scared. We act scared. I mean, really scared to the point of, like, if we want to cry and beg or we want to kneel.
We want to draw them in.
Yeah, draw them in and let them feel that I got his ass here. And this is what they feed on. They feed on knowing that they have you in that subjective way of feeling weakness.
Yeah.
So when you can lead them into that, the same way they're trying to lead you into more or less intimidation of feeling like, oh gosh, if I don't give this guy my money or whatever, he's going to stab me, he's going to shoot me, he's going to punch me in the face or something like that. So in the same way that they're trying to intimidate, but we allow them to, we actually feed their intimidation, which gives us a better opportunity. So when we do respond, not react, when we do respond and we strike and we apply a technique, then they're left in shock. Because then we have that opportunity, because remember, element of surprise. The surprise is that they would not expect what we will do. They would not expect that in 3 seconds they're going to be suffering breakage.
Now you host a TV program in Guyana,
Maximum Sports Combat.
Maximum Sports Combat. When can people see that? Can they catch it on the YouTube? Can they catch it on?
Yes,
Okay.
it's on YouTube, and it's shown also. It's streamed live through Facebook.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
all you need to do is to go to Maximum Sports Combat and Strength, because if you just do Maximum Sports, you'll get about 2 dozen. But if you got to go Maximum Sports Combat and Strength, there's only one. So you just go to that page and you like it, and you will be able to see it. Of course, it's going to be off until the 17th of August, because I'm currently in the US here. So it's good. But on the 17th of August, actually, I want to encourage everybody tune into that program, because
Okay.
the accumulation of stuff that we got leading up to then
It's gonna be good.
is going to be an awesome program.
Combat is different than the other.
Yes.
In your own words, what is combat to you?
Combat, specifically anything that does with the contact, full contact, in terms of that physical contact. Martial arts, all forms, because judo, everything, karate, everything comes under that umbrella of martial arts. Martial arts, boxing, wrestling, even rugby, because that's combat. That's connection, physical connection. So for me, combat is anything that having that physical connection in terms of combat in itself, of being a fighter, or wrangling, wrestling, that physical difference of who's trying to be better, who's trying to be the victor in a situation. And the strength part, of course, that's bodybuilding, powerlifting, weightlifting, arm wrestling. So this is what the program features: strictly combat and strength. No tennis, sorry, no basketball, no cricket, no football, combat and strength. And I want to say this: the reason for this is because at almost any given time of the day or night, you can tune in
To those others.
to
You
those
really
others.
can. You really can find that.
Yeah. But how many times can you just tune in, and you might run through 100 channels and not see any boxing at that specific moment, or especially martial arts? How many times can you tune in and actually see?
I remember growing up in the 70s, we used to watch all the martial arts. Even on the Wide World of Sports, they had martial arts in the old karate tournament. Max. We're going to make Maxido a special thing. And we need to get people out of being weak and sheep.
Yeah.
Or sheep and weak. It doesn't matter. They're being laid for the slaughter.
And I want to mention this before we cut this off, that it was specifically structured for business owners, professionals, elderly, females, law enforcement and security, all of those who may be subjected to bullyism, muggings, physical assault and abuse, all of those, even of course law enforcement and security. And for law enforcement and security, because a lot of times the law or the police, they use excessive force because they have a firearm, and they may be faced with a situation and they don't know what else to do, so they draw the firearm and shoot. Now, if they were to learn, let's say for example Maxido, then they will be more confident, and they will hardly even reach for that firearm, because they will know that they can subdue the person and still be able to arrest them, be able to question them and whatever, and let the law let the law do what it's supposed to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.